Well, that was Catalonia in Spain, and we're just seeing history. So for those of you who've not actually watched the Formula 1 race today at Catalonia, Spain, it was a bizarre, intriguing race and very much enjoyable. Let's start with the biggest of the issues that happened with the race. At the start of it, you had Hamilton on pole position and his teammate Nico Rosberg is second place. Now, Mercedes were expected to absolutely steamroller this week. Anyone who paid any attention to the free practice results saw that they were all at the top by a long, long way. In qualifying, they were about, I think it was about 6 to 8 tenths of a second clear. If you go all the way back to pre-season testing, they broke records at Catalonia for the amount of laps done in a pre-season test. They were looking absolutely dominant. Odds-on favourites for another 1-2, so let's all sit back and see who wins third position on the podium. Well, that was going to change. First corner, Hamilton, whatever he did wrong there, kind of let the door on the outside open for Rosberg, who did a great move around the outside. They're going through turn 2, seemed to get a little bit of less traction, maybe less power from the engine. And around 3, that meant that Hamilton had slightly better momentum. Now at this point, Nico Rosberg decided he was going to go to the inside and cover his line. One problem. Hamilton had decided to try and go up the inside, hit the grass, spun his car round, went ahead of Rosberg as a result due to the momentum. Rosberg T-boned him, and both Mercedes were out at turn 4. It's their first double DNF for a long, long time, and it's the first time they've made contact since the Spa Belgian Grand Prix in 2014. To say it was a big shock, unexpected result, definitely the case. The drivers looked at each other afterwards, there was the look of death, they were both blaming each other here. I actually am going to surprise you all. I'm British, so that means I'm obviously part of the Lewisteria, right? Nope, I blame Hamilton. And the reason I blame him is that in the rules, you are allowed to move once in your defensive move. After that, you can't change line again. So Rosberg moved once, middle to the right. He covered a bit of a distance, but it was very clear that he was going in that direction. Hamilton therefore should have either backed out and followed him through, or done what Carlos Sainz Jr. did on Sebastian Vettel and switched back with a dummy and went round the outside. Because he didn't do that, the accident was unfortunately inevitable. But I'm not here to talk about Mercedes. For once, get them off my screen. Because I'm here to talk about what happened afterwards. We were into this battle where the two Red Bulls of Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen, who was controversially promoted from the Toro Rosso team, taking over from Daniel Fiat after the accidents that happened in Russia. The team has spun it, saying that they've reviewed the data all the time and that there was definitely better performance from Verstappen and Fiat would be better fit. And they come with all these conspiracy theories. No one really believed them. But they will now, because Max Verstappen was always on the pace in free practice 1. Yes, the car is better than what he was driving, but ultimately he was up against a driver who shaded 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. Now, while Daniel Ricciardo out-qualified him, he therefore had the net third position. Then you had Vettel, and behind him, Kimi Räikkönen. But in a very bizarre version of events here, the teams couldn't decide. Did he go with 2 stops or 3 stops? Verstappen and Räikkönen were put on 2. Vettel and Ricciardo were put on 3. But what made things worse is that Ricciardo was put on a second set of the faster running but harder wearing soft tyres, whereas Sebastian Vettel stuck with the more conservative but durable medium compound. Now, no one really knows what caused the puncture that put Daniel Ricciardo into the pits on the penultimate lap, but it meant that he could not continue his fight with Sebastian Vettel, who is slowly winning my award for the whiniest driver on the grid. Because anytime that anyone does a late move, doesn't matter how reasonable, doesn't matter how controlled, it's, what is he doing? Beep this and beep that. Shut up, you petulant little whiner. Anytime that you did anything controversial, it was all, oh, that's racing and I do it again. When someone does it to you, it's wrong. Suck on that. Idiot. Going back to Kimi Räikkönen, it was great to see him get second place because even though he was shaded by Vettel earlier on, he stuck to his guns, stuck to his strategy. He could have been more aggressive in that final stint. He could have made more moves, definitely. But then if you also look at what happened with Daniel Ricciardo, the amount of times where he kept going through that big runoff between turns 1 and 2, that may have contributed to his puncture. It was more conservative. Some might even say it was boring. But ultimately, he kept the pressure on. He tried to crack Verstappen, making the mistake. But Max, this is the big thing of this video. You can argue that maybe Red Bull should have had Ricciardo on a better strategy. You can argue that they threw away a 1-2 victory. But you have to play with what you've got. And Verstappen barely put a foot wrong and took the first ever victory in Formula 1 for himself. His first race for Red Bull, he's on the top step of the podium. The first win for anyone from the Netherlands in Formula 1. Not even Jos de Vos could manage that. Christian Albers and all the others from that area, none of them did it. He did. So, massive congratulations to Max Verstappen. Truly faultless drive, and then the best answer possible to his critics. Everyone will be saying, oh, he's just been bumped up because he's the golden boy, and it's not fair on Fiat and everything else. Fiat got the podium in China. Verstappen got the win here. The Mercedes may have fallen off the road. The Mercedes may have made mistakes. But he beat the Ferraris. And that's something that Fiat did not do. Something Ricciardo hasn't done either. So Ricciardo's going to have to take reflection from that and see if he can take that forward for the rest of the season. But Helmut Marko, I'm sorry. I'll say it. You've obviously knew something that I didn't know. Is it a flash in the pan one-off like Pastor Maldonado in 2012? Or is it going to be the sign of better greatness from the driver? Time will only tell. I'd like to do a shout out, rest on the field for some great drives further down the order. Carlos Sainz Jr. is the forgotten man in all of this. Did a brilliant move on Vettel at the fourth turn and then did brilliantly well to come through and claim 6th place. Fantastic drive from him. Top draw. Valtteri Bottas, he also overcome some early nerves to get 5th place. Did brilliantly. Jenson Button had to fight hard to get 9th in the McLaren. A 2nd points finish for him in a row now. Really good performances. Maybe that's suggesting that they're going to move forward at Monaco, who knows. The Haas team, tyre wear issues kind of got in the way of them, but both Grosjean and Gutierrez were very, very fast today. I would also like to make a dishonourable mention now to the fire marshals. Why was Nico Hulkenberg putting his own car's fire out? Well, whatever it was, today something really special happened. We had a debut victory of a sort for a driver who's only 18. Yeah, think on that for a while. Damon Hill was 33 when he joined motorsport and became a world champion. Verstappen's won a race at 18. Who knows? So you also saw an actually exciting Grand Prix from Circuit de Catalunya, which is not very often. So, next couple of weeks, it's Monte Carlo. That Red Bull's going to be fast on a high downforce, low speed circuit. Can lightning strike twice? Only time will tell.